Barry just snuck out after she announced that Pastor wasn't here today and he had to put up with me. So thank you for sticking around. Thank you for being here. Congratulations to all of our graduates today. And we're going to stray just a little bit from Pastor's Just Jesus series to talk about something that I hope you guys can relate to, you know, graduating, moving on in life, and something that I feel like, you know, in my life that I can relate to a little more and hopefully pass on some words of wisdom. I definitely don't feel like I really have any answers, but I hope I have some lessons learned that I can pass on to you. I was in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago, and I was driving north from Los Angeles Airport, and 45 minutes, it took 2.5 hours. It was absolutely ridiculous. You know, what you keep thinking in LA, you think that there's a wreck or something, the traffic comes to a stop, it's just miserable. You think we have bad traffic around here, but for some reason, in California and Los Angeles, it's a nightmare. So you get to a stop and you think, oh, there's an accident up here, and you take off 65 miles an hour again, you slow down to nothing. So 2.5 hours it took me to get out to this project I was working on, and it gave me a lot of time to kind of browse through the radio, and ended up on this talk show, somebody that I've never really listened to, but it really caught my attention. It was he set this up about this commencement address from University of Texas 2014 graduates, and it was Admiral McRaven. Probably some of you guys have seen this because it's been going around Facebook, it's on YouTube. One of the most amazing commencement speeches I've heard in a long time. You go to graduation and usually you just kind of wait for it to be over, and then you find out there's another speaker and another speaker. But I was so amazed at what this guy was talking about, some of the things that he was saying, that I actually pulled over on the side of the road and I just wanted to sit around. I actually sat there like in a Jack in the Box parking lot for 30 minutes listening to the rest of this speech. And I'm going to read a little bit of it to you, and I strongly suggest you look it up when you get home. It's Admiral William McRaven, or if you just look for University of Texas commencement address, it's phenomenal to listen to. I highly suggest you listen to it yourself, play it for your kids. It's just a really motivational, great speech. He's a former Navy SEAL commander, and one of the things, sorry Ashley, I know you won't like this, but University of Texas slogan is, "What starts here changes the world." And these are his words from the beginning of the speech. He said, I have to admit, I kind of like it. What starts here changes the world. Tonight, there are almost 8,000 students graduating from the University of Texas. That great paragon of analytic rigor, Ask.com, says that the average American will meet 10,000 people in their lifetime. That's a lot of folks. Listen up, this is cool. If every one of you changed the lives of just 10 people, and each one of those folks changed the lives of another 10 people, just 10, then in 5 generations, 125 years, the class of 2014, those 8,000 students that he was talking to, will have changed the lives of 800 million people. 800 million people. Think of it, over twice the population of the United States. Go one more generation, you can change the entire population of the world, 8 billion people. If you think it's hard to change the lives of 10 people, change their lives forever, you're wrong. I saw it happen, this is his words, I saw it happen every day in Iraq and Afghanistan. We think about changing the world, oh man, that's such a big task, the world's so big, how do we change the world? It's not always in that. It's not some big thing. You don't have to be a Steve Jobs and change technology, and you don't have to be a Bill Gates and make tons of money and then donate it and try to change the world. There's little things that you can do, and the things that he talks about are really eye-opening to me. He says, I saw it happen every day in Iraq and Afghanistan. A young Army officer makes a decision to go left instead of right down a road in Baghdad, and the 10 soldiers with him are saved from a close-in ambush. In Kandahar province, Afghanistan, a non-commissioned officer from the female engagement team senses something isn't right and directs the infantry platoon away from a 500-pound IED, saving the lives of a dozen soldiers. Generations were saved by one decision, by one person. But if you think about it, not only were these soldiers saved by the decisions of one person, but their children, yet unborn, were also saved. And their children's children, and so on and so forth. They were saved. But changing the world can happen anywhere, and anyone can do it. So what starts here in me can change the world. But the question is, what would the world look like after you change it? So I'm confident that it will look much better. And then he goes on to list 11 different lessons that he learned as a Navy SEAL that apply to all of us. And it's 20 minutes long. Go home today or tomorrow, watch it, listen to it, just absorb it. It's amazing. But just listening to those statistics of, when I was young, I had aspirations to be an astronaut. I wanted to be an Olympic swimmer. Of course, none of those things panned out. But it's amazing to look back and see how things progressed and where I am today. And I'm so thankful for all those dreams as a kid, all of my experiences through my life that led me to where I am. I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm always striving to go forward, always striving to do better, do my best at everything I do. And so I challenge you to definitely listen to what Admiral McRaven has to say, and I think you'll really be motivated by that. It really opened my eyes. And, it seems like these are things that we should know. Some of it's kind of cliche, and we've heard it before, but it's like we kind of need to hear it on a regular basis. Change the world, whatever. We really can. And if we look back at our own lives, and we look at people that we've come in contact with, one little decision or one thing we said, a lot of times we may not know that we impacted that person, but you just kind of have to trust that, you're there, you're always a witness, somebody's always watching you, somebody's always following you. And that's what I want to kind of talk to you about today. We're going to stray a little bit from Pastor Just Jesus series. He'll pick it back up when he gets back next week. But I wanted to talk about something that is real important to me, something that I'm always kind of learning about and needing to do better about. So I hope that I'm not just speaking to myself, but you guys can actually get something from this as well. And I heard a quote the other day that, again on the radio, that we are all called upon at some point in our life to do something extraordinary. And again, that something extraordinary doesn't mean that it's some huge thing. It just may mean that you've got to sacrifice something. You've got to be there to help somebody. You've got to something. I think we can, even some of the younger guys, I think you can look back and there's things that we experience in our life that we had to stand up. We had to be strong. We had to overcome. And I think all throughout life we're faced with those challenges. And there's a saying that says there are leaders and there are followers. But I don't know, the more I kind of think about it, the more I started to study for today, we're all really leaders at some point. I mean, when you get married, you've got to step up, you've got to be a leader. When you have kids, you've got to be a leader at work, you've got to be a leader. Unless you just want to be average, then you might want to move to Seattle, because I heard they just raised their minimum wage to $15 an hour. But the rest of us, we're trying to overcome, we're trying to do better, we're trying to advance in our career, make more money, set aside money for retirement, to pay for our kids' college tuition, all those things. So it's an ongoing struggle of trying to move forward. And so what has always amazed me in years of management training and leadership books, I always come back to the Bible, and I'm just amazed at how awesome of a book. There's no better book, no better example for leadership than Jesus. And it's, all these different books that are written, they're all great, you take things from it, but it all comes back to, and if you really just want to have a great read, and you really just want to look at it from a leadership, a key to success kind of thing, Bible is one of the best books for it. And so we're going to kind of break down, I'm going to give you a few different points that I kind of found in Jesus' example in being a leader. So number one thing is that, first of all, there are no perfect leaders. Okay, Jesus was a perfect leader. We can use him as an example, but I'm not a perfect leader. You're not a perfect leader. People we work for, people we work around, we all complain about them. We all struggle with their decisions and and all that. Nobody's perfect, but none of us are. But there's no better teacher on leadership than Jesus. And what made him an effective leader? Lots of reasons. We're going to kind of go through that. So number one is identification. I must know who I am. To be a leader, you've got to know who you are. All great leaders know their strengths and weaknesses. And this is something that I struggled with in my, my younger days, and I even struggle with now, is that we all have weaknesses. I was always afraid to admit my weaknesses. I saw my weaknesses as a failure, and I was scared to death of failure. I didn't want to fail. I didn't know that there's recovery from failure. I didn't understand. I wasn't old enough and wise enough, I'm still not, to understand that from failure comes success. You kind of have to. You're not going to, if you just came right out of the bat, the first thing you tried, and it was just awesome, perfect, that's great, happy for you. The rest of us, we're going to try that, and we're going to fail. We're going to fail miserably. But the challenge is picking yourself up, keep going forward, and striving to go again. And then what's awesome, what's absolutely awesome to look back on is that you start down this road, you want to be an astronaut, you want to be an Olympic swimmer, you want to be this or that, and you don't make it, but you don't give up. And it's funny how life kind of takes you through this path, and you can look back and see, oh man, that I thought was a failure, that I thought I would never ever be able to come back from. If I hadn't gone that route, I wouldn't know what I know now, and I wouldn't be where I am today. And so it's cool, I think, to reflect on those things every once in a while and kind of see how our life is shaped, even from the good and the bad. So good leaders don't try to be something they're not. They understand their weaknesses, they understand their strengths, and it's good to have a good understanding of that. Jesus had no doubt about his identity. He said, I am the light of the world. I am the Son of God. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. I am the bread of life. Jesus defines himself 18 times by saying, I am. He didn't let other people define him. He defined himself. If you're going to be a leader, you must know who you are. Second thing that I realized is clarification. You have to know what you want to accomplish. You must clarify what God has called you to do with your life. The direction of your life is your choice. In this day and age, it's amazing how many people will just complain about where they are and not do anything to fix it. If you're in a bad spot, as bad as the world has become, as much that has changed in my lifetime, and from the world that my parents grew up in, and we see just the decline, the moral decline of our United States of America, it's still a land of opportunity. There's still so many things that can be done. There's so many opportunities for success. There's so many chances to stand up and do something great. And if you're in a bad spot, man, pick yourself up. Pick yourself up and move forward. Don't give up. If you want to do something different, you want to be someplace else, you're the only one that's in control of that. There's nobody holding a gun to your head. There's nobody holding you down, holding you back. You've got to make that change. You've got to step up. Nobody's forcing you to serve in the manner you're serving. That doesn't mean that things can't change along the way. Even in my own business, I started my own business 19 months ago, and it was one of the scariest things I've ever done. I've had business before, failed, got in a bunch of tax problems, took me forever to recover, decided I would never ever make that decision again. I actually decided I'd never go into business for myself again. But what I learned along the way is that I realized my weakness, accounting. And so when I started my business, I realized I needed to surround myself with some talented people. That's one thing that I needed to be able to spend some money on. Hire a CPA. You guys handle this. You guys tell me what to do. Tell me what checks to write. Tell me how much money to set aside. And you build a team, and I'll talk about that a little bit as well. But so many things changed. And when I started my business, I was so scared. I had this grand plan that started off business name. I had this business plan kind of loosely. And it's funny that a month or two into it, some things changed. I was awarded a couple of projects that I went from going one direction to being involved in the film and entertainment industry, which has been just absolutely amazing. It's been a great experience. There's been some challenges, there's been some hurdles, but it's funny how things, even when you have a plan, you have to kind of be willing to shift a little. Things are always going to kind of change and shift. You have to be able to, at least not be so rigid on, in life and success. I mean, not so much in your relationship with God, but in life and success and work, you've got to be able to go with the flow. being a business owner, and a lot of you guys, I know have your own business, and you kind of have to roll with it. You have to be, watching for what's next, and, at any time, somebody could come out with something that just wipes out your entire business, and you got to kind of stay in my line of work with technology on what we call the bleeding edge of technology, kind of being out there and kind of seeing what's next and staying on the forefront of it. So having a good clarification of who you are, where you're going, what you want to do, and moving forward. Jesus knew exactly what God had called him to do. He was a straightforward leader. He established clear-cut goals. In John 8, Jesus says, I know where I came from and I know where I'm going. Jesus had a very clear purpose. Thank God for that. He knew not only who he was, but what he was trying to do with his life. God has a purpose for your life. If you don't fulfill it, you've wasted your life. You were put on this earth to live for the purpose God created you for. A leader knows that purpose and pursues it with passion. Number 3 is motivation. For those of you who know my son Hudson, you will know that he has a self-confidence complex. He doesn't have a whole lot of self-confidence. Not something he struggles with, right? But as parents, we always kind of hope that our kids will pick up more than just the dumb things that we argue about as parents, and the bad habits, and that they will pick up some of the leadership qualities, some of the good things, from us parents as well. And my son listens to a lot of motivational type things when he's trying to get pumped up for a big game or something. And there's this one speaker, Eric Thomas, that he listens to all the time. This is a different version I'll play for you, but the one he has a lot of music with it. It's like the Friday Night Lights music, and it's really kind of building, and it's just a great motivational kind of speech, and I want you guys to hear it when we talk about it.
Probably heard about this before. It was a young man who, he wanted to make a lot of money, and so he went to this guru, right? And he told the guru, I want to be on the same level you are. And so the guru said, if you want to be on the same level I'm on, I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. He liked the beach. I said, I want to make money. I don't want to swim. Guru said, if you want to make money, I'll meet you tomorrow, 4 a.m. So the young man got there at 4 a.m. He all ready to rock and roll, got on the suit. He should have worn shorts. The old man grabs his hand and said, how bad do you want to be successful? He said, real bad. He said, walk on out in the water. So he walks out into the water. Watch this. When he walks out to the water, it goes waist deep. So he's like, this guy crazy. Adrian, he's like, I want to make money. He got me out here swimming. I didn't ask to be a lifeguard. I want to make money. He got me in. So he said, come out a little further. Walked out a little further. Then he had it right around this area, the shoulder area. So this old man crazy. He's making money, but he's crazy. He said, come on out a little further. Came out a little further. Was right in his mouth. My man like, I'm about to go back in here. This God is mine. So the old man said, I thought you said you wanted to be successful. He said, I do. He said, walk a little further. He came, dropped his head in, held him down, hold him down. My man didn't stretch it, holding him down. I got you. I know you brushed it out, but I got you. He had him held down. I need you for an illustration. He had him held down. Just before my man was about to pass out, he raised him up. He said, I got a question for you. Somebody answered the question for me. He said, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? Lee, I'm looking for a different word though than live. What's that word? He said, I wanted to breathe. He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I don't know how many of y'all got asthma here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, SOB, shortness of breath, you wheezing. The only thing you're trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care what's on TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it bad and then you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep. You've got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you really want to be successful, some days you will have to stay up 3 days in a row. Because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That's how bad you got to work. You got to go days without.
You graduates, welcome to life. That's it. That's what you got to do. I love that guy. I thought about, just trying to be that. There's no way I can present it as well as he does. But it's so true. I mean, if you want to be successful, nothing's handed to you. Nothing's given to you. You've got an opportunity to do it yourself. You've got the opportunity. If you want it, you got to want it bad. You got to work for it. And graduates, and I tell my kids all the time, my daughter got a job now, so her whole world, her life her dynamic is changing because it's, if you remember those days when we were kids and we just, be home before the sun goes down, before the street light goes on, and we just didn't really have to worry about much. But once we started working, we started realizing now if we want to go out, if we want to buy things, we got to work, make money. You realize that there's in that 15, 16-year-old time frame, it's when everything changes. It really does become about success and money and working hard. And if you want to be there, you got to want it. You got to want it as bad as you want to breathe, and you got to work hard. So to be motivated, you got to know who you're trying to please. You can't please everybody. Good Lord, you cannot please everybody. Just about the time you get one person happy, you'll tick somebody else off. You have to focus on your goals. You have to be motivated. You've got to want it more than you want to breathe. Jesus lived for an audience of one. His whole purpose was to please his heavenly Father. Jesus says this in John 5, I only try to please the one who sent me. Jesus wasn't trying to win the popularity contest. He just wanted to please God. That's a lesson we all have to learn as leaders. You've got to learn not to care about the opinions of others because you've got to focus on what God wants you to do and his opinion of what you're doing. Don't pay attention to those who praise you or criticize you because either one can distract you. I've got a good friend that's going through some things in his business, and he's got some people that he's had on staff, and they've decided to leave and go do something else, and kind of competes with him, and they're kind of, that whole separation thing where things start to get kind of sticky, and you get, a lot of things said. People don't know the whole story, and sometimes you wish, okay, if you're going to go, just go and do your own thing. But all of the, all the bickering back and forth and slander and things like that can be very hurtful for either party. It just doesn't need to happen. And one of the things that he and I were talking about is, I was trying to encourage him, and I said, hey, man, don't worry about any of that. You stay focused on your goal. You've got this business. You're doing great things. You're changing lives. You're making things happen. Don't let that distract you. It's very easy for you to feel like you've got to address this situation with the public. You've got to address, it in whatever fashion or deal with it. Don't. Let that, whatever they're doing, let that happen. Stay focused on your goal, what you want to do. Move forward. Don't let those distractions, those negative distractions are really bad, but there's also positive distractions. You get a lot of praise, you get a lot of glory from things, and that can distract you too, because you get all caught up, you get a big head, and you end up sidetracking and then missing the opportunity. You've got to stay focused. So the fourth point is collaboration. This is one of the things that it took me so long to really kind of, when I was younger and more arrogant even than I am today, I felt like I could do it all. I felt like I knew, all different things about my business, about how, what needed to be done, about different technologies, and I thought I could just do it all myself. Before I knew it, this was part of one of my failures in my younger years, is that I had too much work, and I couldn't keep up with it all. I'm staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning doing work all by myself because I'm thinking I can do it. It's all me, I can do this by myself. And then I realized, the client's calling, and I got to have it to them at 8 a.m., 7 a.m., and next thing I know, I'm 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm half asleep, and I'm sending out work, and then it comes back, and it's all wrong. And, people are making decisions based off of what I'm providing, And it was a big wake-up call for me. I finally realized, because I crashed and burned, I realized that I can't do it alone. I have to surround myself with like-minded, talented people to really go on and be successful. And Jesus, again, was a great example of this. He never did ministry alone. In Mark 3:14, he says he appointed 12, designating them as apostles, that they might be with him and he might send them out to preach. Jesus enlisted other people to serve the cause with him. And again, going back from my experience as parents, I watch my kids, and I just hope that they pick up on some of these things. They pick up on pastor's sermons on Sunday, that some of the good things between me and my wife, that they can actually implement that in their life. And it's so amazing to watch them, to kind of pull back the reins. I think as parents, a lot of times we just like to kind of hold on to them and not let them go, that fear of letting them go and kind of experience the world. And I didn't have that, so it's a little easier for me to kind of let go and see what they come across in life lessons, let them fail, let them pick themselves back up. But I think that's important, and it's awesome to see my kids interact with their friends and work and sports, and how they can, they see an opportunity and they can step up. My daughter is one of the most gracious people that I know. She's just so amazing, so forgiving, and so hardworking, and just to see that, as a father, I'm just so proud to see those kind of things. And I think as parents, that's what we kind of hope. They don't, they fight, they mess up, and they say things wrong, and they hurt feelings, just like everybody else. But it's good to kind of let go and see how they kind of handle situations. And and they're getting older. Mason has a job now, and she's got that whole experience ahead of her. It's awesome as a parent to hear her come home and how she dealt with difficult customers and people that didn't tip her, and she still got the look on a smile and all these things. And it's great to see that come through. I sat through. Hudson joined a new basketball league. He had his first games yesterday. He had 2 practices this week, and then had 2 games yesterday. The first game was absolutely horrendous. They lost like 59-10 or something. It was very painful to watch. And I realized in the second game, actually I think I might have realized it in the first game, because I'm usually pretty tough on it, and as parents, you'll identify with this, I think. I know what my kids are capable of, right? I know that I've seen what they can do. I've seen the amount of effort that they can put forth. Hudson did word me ahead of time and said, "Hey, Dad, the coaches told me that I've got to do this and this and this, so, hey, pull back a little bit. Don't yell at me from the stands. Don't embarrass me." And so I did it. It was part of the, I wanted to hold on to the reins, and I wanted to say, "Hey, come on, step it up." Step back, just watch as a parent, watch them lose. And but I realized that I kind of had a revelation of myself. A lot of times I can tell, like, if he goes up to a shot, I get on to him all the time, even when we're practicing at home. There's a certain, I can tell, like, when he's going to make the shot. He's got the right form, everything's falling into place, and then he'll make the shot. And when he doesn't, it's kind of what I call this lazy shot. He just kind of comes up and throws it. And sometimes it goes in, and most of the time it doesn't. So I always get on to him. I don't know what you're doing, but it's that lazy shot. And I was thinking that during the first game, I was like, man, I'm going to give him a talk. This game is over. I'm going to set him straight. And then I realized that even as confident as he really is, there was we talked about this. I said, man, you just need to know you can make that shot. When it comes to it, I can kind of see it come out, and he gets the ball. He's at the 3-point line, and he goes to shoot, and I can just tell that there's that lazy shot. But then I realized it's not that. He at that last split second, it's like he doesn't have that confidence to move forward. So I gave him a little bit of pep talk. Decided not to lecture him so much and not to be so mean, but to really just tell him, hey, you got this. Don't second guess it. When you get the ball and you're wide open, take that shot. And the only thing you need to be thinking about, staying focused, getting back to that lesson that we learned with Jesus' example. Stay focused, keep it clear. Your ball's going in the basket at that moment. That's all you're concerned about. Follow that goal and don't let anything else distract you. So I'll wrap that up with the second game. They were, I don't know, like 19 points down at halftime, 16 points down. It seemed like it was going the same direction. I'm just like, gritting my teeth, like, come on, guys, you can do this. And it was something happened, something snapped. I saw my son step up, and saw that there was a weakness. It's a new group of kids, so that dynamic is always strange. New group of kids. There's no one leader. The coaches are new. Nobody knows each other. And I saw this scattered, just clumsy, just falling apart team all of a sudden come together and start playing as a team. Things just started firing like I haven't seen in a long time. It was amazing. They came back within 2, and it was just, they lost the game, but it was one of those games that they left the court feeling really proud about what they did. Something clicked. If they would have been able to do it a quarter earlier, they would have won that game hands down. But it was amazing to see my son, step up and I'm not saying that, I'm not just bragging on my son and saying he's perfect, but it was very rewarding. It was very cool for me to see him kind of take those lessons that we're learning about today, example of Jesus, example of those of us around, example of Sunday school teachers and youth directors and all you guys in the church, and trying to instill great morals and great, things in our kids and even the adults. And to see him kind of just, all right, we're down, we got to do something different because this isn't working. And pull the kids together, and they all came together and almost pulled that one out. So it'll be awesome to watch them over the next 3 weeks and see what happens. Another example about collaboration. I've been very fortunate to be a part of film industry, and what's amazing is when we go on set, a lot of times I won't even know. My schedule's kind of crazy, and that's one of the drawbacks of being in an industry, is that I don't know exactly where I'm going. They'll say, Travis, we need you in Los Angeles Thursday. And I'll get there Wednesday night, and midnight Wednesday night, I finally get an email of where I'm going and what I'm doing. And it's kind of crazy, kind of nerve-wracking. The logistics are very difficult. I've got equipment I have to take, I've got schedule, I've got to try to plan hotels, I don't know where I'm going, so I don't know where to stay. And so it's usually pretty. What's wild is that's not just me, that's everything. You've got the producers and the crew that have to pull all this stuff together to accomplish this, this one goal, which usually is, 15, 30-second minute commercial. So you go through all this trouble for one little thing. But what is really amazing that I've just been amazed at seeing how everything comes together is there's like sometimes 500 people that show up that are working on the crew, and it's just, there's no bickering, there's no complaining. Well, the director, there's no time for that, first of all. There's no room for that. Everybody knows their job. Everybody just jumps out there, they make it happen. There's always, challenges, there's always rain, there's always, we've got this, or this didn't work, this tire blew, there's all these different things. And every time something like that happens, it's amazing to see how people just see that as an opportunity. We could just all sit back and say, oh man, these guys don't have it together. They should have been prepared for that. Not time for that. When you see that there's a problem, don't just bicker and moan about it. That's your opportunity to shine. That's your time to step up and be a leader. And you may say, I don't really want to be a leader. I just want to follow. I just want to kind of, do my thing and make my money, go home at 5 o'clock. Okay, maybe that's fine, but I challenge you to step out. I challenge you to work harder, to implement Christ's example in our lives. The Bible says, whatever you do, whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might, do it with all your heart. And there's a reason for that. And you'll feel better about yourself. So many things will work better in your life. I'm not going to say it'll be perfect. So many things will work better in your life if you follow that example. So the fifth point is concentration. Oh man, this day and age, with our phones, Facebook, social media, television on demand, binge watching episodes of whatever on Netflix. It's hard to stay focused. It's so easy to get distracted and say, just forget about it, I'm going to watch this, or I'm going to be on Facebook, or I'm going to do anything. So concentration is really important. I worked with a guy this week that I told my wife I left. This is the third time that we worked together, and my brain is always sore when I get through working with him because he is a model. He's one of these guys. He's a brilliant guy, and he has some of the craziest ideas. One of them is going to change the world eventually. But right now, this one we're working on is not going to change anything. It's kind of silly, but that's my opinion. He's into 3D printing and all kind of new technology, and he thinks that we can go out and fill potholes with 3D print material. Anyway, it all pays the same. So I got paid. That's all that matters for me right now. But my brain's always a little sore because he's so scattered and so focused. And every time I see him, his business name has changed. The business has changed itself. It's always back and forth. There's no focus there. And so, it's not easy to stay focused nowadays, but it's definitely something that is very, very important. And Jesus was a master. I mean, he was just a master at concentration. He focused his life on a laser. He refused to be distracted. Luke 9:51 says, as the time drew near for his return to heaven, he moved steadily onward towards Jerusalem with an iron will. He headed toward Jerusalem to die on the cross for us. And he knew that was going to happen. He knew that was his life's goal, but he still just iron will. I love that phrase. He headed toward Jerusalem with an iron will. He did it with an iron will. He would not let anything distract him from what was important. Your life has incredible potential as well, but that potential won't be realized until you decide what's important. Settle on what's important. God will use your life like you could never imagine. The sixth point that I kind of found was meditation. Listen to God. Make listening to God a habit of your life. Jesus did. Prayer was a regular part of his life. The Bible tells us in Mark 1, verse 35, very early in the morning while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. If Jesus needed to get alone and listen to God, don't you think you need to as well? You need quiet times to reflect and renew and recharge. You need time to just get alone and be quiet and listen to God. Even if it's in the car on the way to work, turn the radio off. There's nothing good on anyway. It's, radio stations play the same stuff all the time. Talk radio will just make your blood boil and you get so frustrated. Just turn it all off, at least in the morning. And it's one thing I miss now. Most of the time I work from home, but my drive in, I always enjoyed just turning the radio off and just kind of, having a little meditation, having a prayer, daily, the Lord's Prayer. God, give me this day. Help me make it through the day. Help me resist temptation. Give me daily bread. Help me to be a good person today. Help me to change someone. Help me to be an example to those around me. And it's amazing how just a few minutes. I mean, preachers will always tell us, you got to spend hours and hours in prayer, and you need to do this, you need to be a prayer warrior, but we may do that for a couple of days, and then honestly, we all kind of fall out. Whatever. I mean, challenge you, just, a couple of minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes a day, ride to work, whatever. Just meditate. Take time to just kind of say, hey, Lord, here I am. Forgive me for all the dumb things I've done. Help me to be a better person today than I was yesterday. Help me to be an example. Use me some way today, in some small way or some big way. Help me to be that. Help me to be an example. And you'll be amazed at how they'll just kind of help you, get your day on track, but also kind of give you a little bit of peace as well. You'll approach the day a little differently. Sometimes we wake up stressed. Realize all the things we have to do, and that way, that just a few minutes will help you kind of get your day started right and give you the focus you need, and maybe kind of calm down a little bit and realize, okay, hey, just take it one thing at a time. I've got this whole big, list of things I have to do. How am I going to get it done? You can spend so much time worried about it, but if you just break it down and pull it into pieces, you can accomplish it a lot easier. And seventh one, probably my favorite one that I really is relaxation. Take time to recharge. Leadership is draining. It's hard work, especially if you want it as bad as you want to breathe. Every once in a while, you just need to breathe. We all need time to just relax. Jesus encouraged his very busy disciples to take some time for relaxation. Mark 6:31 says, crowds of people were coming and going so that they did not even have time to eat. He, Jesus, said unto them, the disciples, come away by yourselves, and we'll go to a lonely place to get some rest. Jesus realized the disciples had been busy serving, and they were very tired. They needed a break, so he told them to get away and rest. Rest is so important that God put it in the 10 Commandments. The 4th commandment says this: every 7th day you take a day off. Hey, I'll take it. God says it. Hey, 7 days, all right, it's rest time. Your leadership is a key ingredient to helping your family, your church, your co-workers, your job become what God has called it to be. In fact, the Bible says in Proverbs 11:14, without wise leadership, a nation is in trouble. Without wise leadership, a nation is in trouble. That's true of every single area of life. Learn about leadership, not from our president, not from our congressmen, our senators, our House of Representatives, but from Jesus. I laid out 11 simple points from Jesus' example alone in leadership. We have no better guide. I challenge you, especially you graduates, as you go out into the world and you move on to the next chapter in your life, I challenge you to, when an opportunity arises, when you see that there is a weakness, when you see that something needs to be done, those of you in work, in church, in relationships, whatever, it's the easy thing. The lazy thing to do is just say, complain about it. Just to say, oh, well, why do they do that? You know, they should be doing a better job. Complain about your boss at work. I've been guilty of that for years. You know, oh, this guy, you know, what does he do? He doesn't know what he's doing. I could do this so much better. And the thing is that that's your opportunity. If you see that there's a weakness, if you see that something needs to be done better, if you see something that needs improvement, don't complain about it. Step up. That's your chance. That's your time to shine. You never know by taking that one little chip. Nobody points out and says, hey, Howard, you're a leader. It's just, okay, I've got this opportunity. All right, I'm going to lead. And it doesn't always have to be something big. Sometimes it can just be something small. Sometimes, you know, it seems like we get in situations and we're working together as a team and we're just spinning wheels and nobody's willing to make a decision. In those situations, don't be afraid to just step up, especially young people. If you're like I was when I was younger, I didn't have the self-confidence my son has. I don't know where he gets that from. I wish I had. I would probably be a lot further along in life than I am today if I would have had that kind of self-confidence. Hopefully he finds a way to put that to good use. Anyway, those of you that don't have that confidence, it's easy to just kind of fall back in the shadows and just kind of wait for somebody to call on you, but I challenge you. It'll change your life. There'll be an opportunity and you just say, okay, yeah, I mean, this isn't going to be pleasant. I know this is going to take work. I know I'm going to have to work a lot. Just do it. Step out and say, okay, hey, I see that there's this weakness and, you know, hey, boss, let me do this. Let me step out. Let me take this. I can do this. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure's okay. As long as you pick yourself back up. So I say that to your graduates. Congratulations to you. We're going to move back and have lunch here in a minute to kind of congratulate you all. So let's stand, and I'll close this in a word of prayer, and then we can all shout out. Thank you, Lord, so much for everyone here today. Thank you for all your many blessings. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the example that you gave us. Help us to implement the lessons that you gave us into our daily life, our families, and work. And help us to be an example to those around us. Be with these graduates. Just help them to have the confidence and the strength to move on and to work as hard as they possibly can and achieve the goals that they want to achieve. We thank you for the food that's been laid out for us. Thank you for all the hands that have prepared it. We ask that you would just bless this food, bless our time together. In Jesus' name, everybody say amen.